kids love to dress up to play. Now, we see it on Halloween big time, where kids put on all sorts of outlandish costumes, right? You dress up as astronauts, as doctors, as fairies, as witches. What did you guys dress up for Halloween for? Skeleton. Cat? Somebody was a what? Oh, a black cat. Anyone else? Vampire, nice. My favorite was Robin Hood. Perfect for a priest, right? Robin Hood. What was that? Oh, a fireman. Pirates, firemen.
My favorite TV character.
Who's that? If I dare to ask, who's your favorite TV character?
It's an anime character. Her name is
Yumiko Jababi. All right. Well, this is an anime church. Perfect. So, kids love to dress up, love to pretend to be something else, to put on pretend clothing and play another role. But sometimes, right, we also change our clothes to feel a different way, to change our personality. Like we have different personas: the wild person, the well-behaved person, the quiet person, the party person, right? Like Cassandra, you have on a very pretty dress today. And why is that? Because you are getting baptized. So you are wearing a pretty white-colored dress to signify that you are getting baptized. And sometimes we wear uniforms. So I'm wearing a uniform for a priest. Jeff and Micah are wearing uniforms for servants at the altar. We are bathed in white, like in baptism. And then I wear this to say I'm a priest. Doctors wear white coats, so we know that they're the doctor. Nurses wear colored scrubs, so we know that they're the nurses. So people put on clothes all the time to sort of change who they are. If I wasn't wearing this, you wouldn't know I was the priest, right? So, here's the leather jacket that I bought a few years ago. I just want to point out to people who notice cool details. See my moto, see my motorcycle jacket, my leather jacket. This is my cool jacket. This is where I go out with people. I don't want them to know I'm a priest, actually, because then it's not going to be a very fun night. So that's my cool jacket. And this is my outdoorsy jacket. I also like to hike, and I can put maps and compasses and sunscreen and sunglasses. It's also my dog walking jacket, so treats and a leash, right? This is outdoorsy, Janine. And that's how we change our personality. Now, I want to tell you a story about a time I got an article of clothing that changed me forever. So when I was 12, I think we have some 12-year-olds in the room. When I was 12 going on 13, it was December. And what are we waiting for in December? Yeah, and Jesus, please. We're waiting for Christmas and Jesus. But kids are waiting for Christmas. They're waiting for their Christmas presents. And parents are shopping for Christmas presents, and they're hiding them, if they're unwise, somewhere in the house. So I like to snoop. I like to snoop and find out all of my Christmas presents, and my mother knew this about me. And so she tried to hide mine in the back of closets, bags within bags within bags. But by the time I was 12, I was very smart. And so I could sneak in there very silently, hopefully when my parents weren't home. See, Daphne knows, girl. And find the presents. So one year, I was just so desperate. I was 12. I was desperate to know. And I pretty much opened every single bag that was hidden in a drawer in my parents' closets under their bed. And one day, my mother yelled, "Janine, are you snooping?" And I said, "No." And I slid the closet door very quietly shut and ran out of the room. Well, you can imagine what happened on Christmas morning. What happened, Daphne?
Probably got less presents or missed some of them or got full.
Oh, wow, you're good. Now, what happened, the first thing that happened was I knew every present that me and my 4 siblings got that morning because I had opened every single bag. There were no surprises. Every toy, every article of clothing, including the scarf that I really did not like. So I was sitting there feeling very sad, just like you, on the floor near the Christmas tree, looking down, going, well, I've ruined Christmas because every single surprise was ruined. And then my mom was looking at me, and she was sort of, that when your mom kind of looks at you like, I know what you've done. I see you, I see right through you. And then my dad ran behind the tree, tucked in a corner, hidden away so you couldn't see it, and pulled out a big box and said, well, what do you know? One more present for Janine. And I opened it up, and inside was a long, below-the-knee, fancy coat. Now, it was not this coat. It was actually a tan wool coat that was very popular at junior high at my time. And it was the kind of coat that a teenager would wear, not a little kid. It wasn't a ski jacket. It was a big girl coat. And it was fancy, and it was feminine. It was something I could wear to dances at school in the winter because my mom knew I wanted to look nice and get boys to ask me to the dances. So my mother knew that. She knew that I was 12, going on 13, and that I was ready for big girl clothes and ready to stop acting like a little imp and look for all the presents for Christmas. And on that day, I changed. On that day, I said, I am never, ever going to snoop again because I don't want to ruin Christmas. And also, I'm a big kid now. I'm almost 13. It's time to grow up. Now, you might wonder why I'm talking about clothes at church, and I will tell you why. It's because Baruch did it first. So here's what he said. You may not have heard this, so I'll kind of read it to you to make sure you understood what he's saying. He says, take off the garment of your sorrow and affliction. He's pretending that clothes make us sad and heavy. He means all the things that make us sad and heavy. They're weighing us down. So he says, take off the garment of your sorrow and affliction and put on forever the beauty of the glory of God. Put on the robe of the righteousness that comes from God, and put on your head the diadem of the glory of God. He's saying, take this off, change my job. Put on this royal robe, and what he means is the robe of salvation, the robe that makes you feel beloved, surrounded by God, that God is going to take care of you no matter what is happening at school or in sports or in your computer club. And you put on the royal diadem that you are like a prince or a princess in the kingdom of God. This fancy robe. But here's the thing. It's not a pretend robe. God is not saying you get to pretend to be holy. God is saying you are all my holy people. And you all get to wear this. So, we're talking about this because we're going to baptize Cassandra and Christopher, who's manning the camera today. Thank you, Christopher. We're going to baptize them today. And we're basically going to give them new clothes. The clothes to be a Christian. And you might say, well, why bother to do that? And there are a couple of reasons why we do this. So imagine all the weights and worries of the world. This is a heavy leather jacket. And then, I don't know if this is going to go on over this. Let's see if we can do this. And then we've got all the chores we have to do. We have to clean up after the dog and take the dog for a walk every single day. And then sometimes we have to look nice and behave well and grown up. We have to do what they call adulting because they just make us do that around here. They make us do our jobs. And the weight of the world gets very heavy. All the worries, all the bad things that are happening in schools around the country, all of these can make us feel sad. And what Jesus is saying is take it off. Just take it all off. All that weight, all the chores, all the worry. No more weight. Just God surrounding you, enveloping you, making you feel safe, secure, and beloved. Now, the other thing about growing up as a Christian and getting baptized is that there are things that you're going to be asked of you as a Christian, and you're going to hear those today in something we call the baptismal covenant, which means promises. It's going to say, do you promise to pray and to worship and be in fellowship with other people? And we're going to say, yes. And then it's going to say, do you promise to see Christ in one another and to treat everybody as if Jesus Christ is living in them? And we're going to say, yes. And then it's going to ask us, do you seek peace and justice throughout the world and to respect the dignity of every human being? We're going to say yes. So there is a part of being a Christian that's doing something. But there's a big part of being a Christian that is simply wearing the clothes of righteousness, the robes of righteousness that God offers to all of us to keep us safe and to help us know that we are all living in the same family. And this is true for everybody, because Luke says it at the end. He says, all flesh, all bodies, all people, all creation will see the salvation of God. Amen. Amen.